On this week's Hanford Insider, we'll hear from Dr. Victor Rosa from the Hanford Joint Union High School District for some construction updates. Rob will also give us a rundown of events coming up in town.
This is the Hanford Insider for Monday, August 14th.
Welcome to this episode of the Hanford Insider. I'm your host, Rob Bentley. I'd like to thank everybody for your support of the show. The response has been truly overwhelming. There are a lot of different ways to listen to the show. Most of you are probably coming here directly from the website. If you're into other podcasts, you're likely listening through a player like Apple Podcast or something similar. You can also subscribe to my email list. I'll send out a direct link to the show each week for those who request it. Send an email to hanfordinsider@gmail.com to let me know you'd like to be on the list. The weather this week is going to be very, very warm. Looks like it's going to be in the hundreds, and it'll cool down to the 90s by the weekend. In City Council news, the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting will be held on Monday at 5:30 in the City Council chambers. On Tuesday, the City Council will meet at 4 o'clock for a study session. One of the more interesting items that they'll be looking at is the issue of basketball hoops on sidewalks. That has been a hot topic for some of you, so they've decided to look at ways to resolve the issue. During the regular meeting at 7, the agenda includes approving a 3-year agreement to rent the ice rink for the Winter Wonderland, the approval of school resource officers for local school districts, the approval of 2 new police officer positions, and purchase several new vehicles for the city fleet. Coming up this week, it's Free Fitness Saturday at Hidden Valley Park from 8 to 9, as well as Walk with the Doc at the Hanford Mall from 9 until 10. Don't forget, most of the schools in town are starting back up, so please drive safely. Don't pass school buses that are flashing red lights. Drive slower in school zones, and of course, be patient in the pickup and drop-off lines. And always follow the directions of teachers and staff. Well, I'm sure as you've been driving around town this summer, you've probably seen a lot of maintenance work and construction work going on at our local schools to get them ready for the new school year. Some of the most visible projects have been taking place at the high schools. I've invited Dr. Victor Rosa, who is the superintendent of the Hanford Joint Union High School District, to join us and bring us up to speed on some of the big projects that they have going. Welcome to the show, Victor.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I know we could fill up a whole show on the projects that you have going, but let's touch on a few of them this afternoon. Can you tell us about the new electronic signage that we're seeing at all the campuses?
Sure. That's been something that we have wanted to do for quite some time, and we're finally able to get marquees at all of our alternative schools and then at the 3 comprehensive high schools as well, really with the purpose of being able to get more information out more rapidly. And it'll also be able to be used for dedications and all the things that we used to see that kind of went away. In addition to that, there's also, as part of the Bowl project, a really large new scoreboard that will have a large LED screen as well that can feature video and all those sort of things during the game. So lots of new signage across all of our campuses and the Bowl as well.
Yeah, those look really sharp. I've had so many people comment on those, and it's nice how they all have the same kind of unified theme. They're not all different designs. It's kind of neat to see the coordination of that. So let's move on to another project that we've seen. How about the Hanford High School cafeteria? That was a huge project.
It certainly is for anyone who's ever been in there, whether they were in school or for an event. That cafeteria never had air conditioning. It just had swamp coolers, much like the gym at Hanford High. And so we knew it was time to update that. So as part of the process of adding air conditioning in, ton of structural work that had to go in on the roof and all those sort of things. So brand new window systems. Those were all single pane windows. They're now all dual paned, and just a total revamp to the cafeteria. And then the serving lines for kids to make it a little bit more restaurant style as far as serving and everything goes, and more choices. That's been all revamped in there as well. So students can have a choice between their sandwich line or the hot food burger line and that sort of thing. It just makes it a little bit more inviting. So many more kids eat in our cafeterias these days than they had in the past. we really felt the need to improve that. And it's looking great. It won't be 100% done in time when school starts. It'll be completely functional and it'll look much better. There's some ceiling things that can't take place until winter break. So still a couple of eyesores that the kids will have to deal with for a semester.
All around the district, you've got a lot of projects going on. Can you highlight a few of those?
Sure. We have been under construction now and remodel projects almost since the day I got here. So the last 4 years have been really busy. There was a remodel at Hanford West, obviously the new parking area, classroom renovations, locker room renovations, marquees, all that sort of thing. Sierra Pacific, we already mentioned the marquee, but they've got a brand new academic wing that's going to be starting here in the next year that will kind of build out that campus to completion. We're still missing about 28 rooms, and this building is about 22 of those rooms. So that's important. And other projects at our alternative sites as well, remodels, carpeting, that sort of thing. And people may have read in the Hanford Sentinel, in addition to that, we just purchased the Hanford Sentinel building. Escrow's closing on that soon, and we're actually going to be putting our online school and our district office there. So no shortage of construction. We're doing some things at baseball, obviously the bowl renovation, and still a lot to come. There's new lighting projects going in at all of the campuses so that more of our athletic fields are lit at Sierra Pacific, Hanford West, and Hanford High for practice. That, and then a ton of field renovation on top of that. All of our fields were a little used and abused, and so a lot of top coating, refurbishing of our fields for athletics and band practice and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's great. I'm super excited about the new district office there in the old Hanford Sentinel building. That's going to be a great opportunity for you for some programs, and maybe in a building that wasn't as useful for the Sentinel any longer, but you certainly were able to capitalize that. And I'm sure the community's excited to see what you can do there. I know something else, you touched on it just briefly, but I was wondering if you could update us on the modernization of the football stadium. I've seen the plans on your website. It looks like it's going to be amazing. Can you tell us fans what we'll eventually be seeing at Neighbor Field and how you're going to negotiate football season this year with all the construction still going on?
Well, I won't lie. It'll be an interesting time. The way fans come in and where they sit and access and having to share the home side restrooms and that sort of thing. There's going to be an inconvenience this season. There's no question. But fans will be able to come in and sit and watch their football teams just as always. We've really timed that construction line to make sure that we are impacting football as little as possible, and then not impacting graduations. So there's obviously a lot that has to happen and for that to coordinate, but everything's been running smoothly. You can already see from Kensington now they're starting to actually build the walls of the new snack bar, restrooms, and ticket booth there. So the new entry where fans come in and is really right there off of Kensington. It's going to be a beautiful new entry with the visitor side, a home side. The berms are all going to be done in, I say AstroTurf, but synthetic grass that you see with signage on those. The new tunnel will be able to change colors with lighting based on whether it's Hanford West or Sierra Pacific or Hanford High. The new scoreboard, the same way, super customizable so that Neighbor Bowl doesn't belong to one school. It belongs to the district, and those schools can then have their own personality. An entirely new sort of ramp system on the visitor side and 2 new sections of seating. We don't typically need additional seating for football games on the visitor side, but we certainly do for graduation. So we're really happy to be adding more seating on that side and then redoing all of the steps for ADA compliance. If you've ever been up and down those steps on the home side, you know there's some missteps there. A couple are taller, and it's just a little
I've hit a few of them.
I have too, and I know they're there. So that's all being repaired. Some handicap accessibility being added in that front section on the home side, and then on the upper side of the visitor side, so that fans who may have disabilities have more access. And we're really excited about it. New track will be going in. Visually and logistically, it's just going to be such an improvement, much needed improvement. We're really excited about it. And
Yeah.
all plans are for it to be done in that window to where by next football season, everyone's going to walk into a completely complete, and maybe by graduation, completed project.
That's some exciting news. Man, it's going to look so good. I cannot wait. I've attended games in that stadium for years. Went to school, graduated there, and I'm excited for all the schools in the district to be able to use such a nice facility. Dr. Rosa, I'd like to thank you for giving us those updates. We'll have to get you on the show again in a few months for another update. I think that would be fun.
Anytime, happy to share the information. Like I said, we have a lot going on, and it evolves quickly. So always happy to provide an update. And thank you for doing this and for giving our community information that's useful and correct. I appreciate it.
As you heard in the interview with Victor Rosa, the high school district has purchased the Hanford Sentinel building, and there will be a yard sale at the Hanford Sentinel this Saturday and Sunday. There will be desks, tables, chairs, and a lot of other items for sale. The Sentinel office is located at 300 West 6th Street. The Kings Players presenting 4 Weddings and an Elvis. The show opens this Friday night at the Temple Theater. Go to their website at kingsplayers.org for tickets and more information. Coming up on Saturday, the Children's Storybook Garden will be hosting Mysteries of the Garden, where families can learn about plants, bugs, and more. You can stop by their website at children'sstorybookgarden.org. I'll be grabbing more events off social media as I see them. If you're a part of an organization that needs help getting the word out to the community, let's work together.
And now it's time for Hanford Insider Sports with Eric Bentley.
In sports news, the high school football teams will be beginning their 2023 campaigns this week. Here's the lineup for the first week of action. The Sierra Pacific Golden Bears open up their season at home on Thursday night against the Titans from Orange Cove. The Hanford High School Bullpups will travel up to Fresno to take on the Bullard Knights. That matchup happening on Friday night. And the Hanford West Huskies will open up their season on the road at Woodlake. We will have scores and updates throughout the year for local schools. And if you are a local coach or fan that would like to have your team featured on the show, please let us know by sending an email to hanfordinsider@gmail.com. And lastly, we've got some really awesome news about a local athlete who has recently become a professional athlete. Congratulations to Hanford's own Jerron Watts Brown for recently signing with the Toronto Blue Jays. The 21-year-old right-handed pitcher was drafted in the Major League Baseball draft held on July 10th.
Help me get the word out about the show by liking and sharing on social media or telling a friend. For more information about the show, you can find this podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Hanford Insider. If you have a show idea, be sure to email me at hanfordinsider@gmail.com. Thanks for listening to the show. Have a great week.